break it doesn't. No, it won't wait anyway.
Eva, what's your last name?
Peoria.
You want to spell that for you?
Yes.
DePaola.
And just EVA, your first name?
Yes. It's actually Elise, but I won't put you through
Okay.
that.
Eva DePaola.
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 Okay, DePaola.
And you'll get very simple question. What makes a borough great? Right? Why would somebody come here? Why would they want to come? There's a lot of places to spend their money. Why would they come to spend their money? And I know a lot of the answers to that question, by the way, because I'm a big fan. But I live in a different part of town. My kids are going to win a lot of donkey years in the back of my car.
Hey, Jay, you want to turn that just a little bit? Maybe I can eliminate that. Other way. There you go. Yeah, there you go. That's close enough. Okay, 1 or 2 hours. Activate. Yeah, I'm gonna take my dad's sacks and get it cleaned at Milano. I was looking at it the other day in the office, because I had it. It was dusty, and obviously. So I sent Mike a message, and he's like,
Hey, shiny.
$250.
Shiny. Open.
Both.
Sorry.
That's okay. That's fine. Shiny. We could go in and get mine. Snap the picture.
Yeah, I don't know.
You can use my phone too. You can use it whatever you want to do. I don't think there's anybody in Phoenix.
Hey, Aaron, how you doing,
You
sir?
get it in my phone.
Good. We're on a location in some boroughs here in Phoenix. We're going to have Brother Han join us along with Eva. She's going to jump in after we do an intro with Jay. And no calls out today, and it looks like a pretty clean job. And I pre-ordered my No Way From Home. It comes out on the It comes out on the 12th, and it should be there by the 13th because I got the Prime. Yeah. So I'll have it in a few days, and as soon as I watch that, my next show, man, I should be able to talk to you about it. I'm definitely watching that as soon as I get it. No, I don't know anything. Yeah.
It's so nice to
like I said, it's been a pleasant surprise so far because I got
really,
turned on.
That's really deep. That's very deep.
How are you in your ears? Are you good? Up a little bit? I'll turn them all up. How are you in your ears, Jay? Good?
Other Jay. Jay too.
What? Turn my headphones up. Oh, I like her shirt. I love your shirt. That's cool. Okay. Okay. And welcome to the Easy Sports Talk Show. The host Ed Smith, joined by my brother and co-host Mr. Javon Love.
Yes, sir.
Hey man, we got a good one going today. Coming to you live today from Samboros. There's a few of them, but we're at the special one over here. They call it the Uptown Samboros, 5115 North 7th Street, Phoenix 85014. Cross streets of what is it? Camelback and 7th, basically 7th Street and Camelback. So if you're in the area, come on, stop by and see us. This segment right here is brought to you by
Hope Artisan Beverage Company, the official beverage company of Easy Sports Talk. So we have the first launch magazine of East Coffee. They offer everything from specialty coffees to a botanical infusion line of caffeine, punch, sugars, green juice, beverages. Call Hope Artisan Beverage Company at 623-434-0939 or visit ilovecoke.com for more information.
And speaking of Colt, we got my man, Brother Hans Schatz, the CEO of Colt Artisan Beverage Company, is with us today on this location, along with, I'm going to make sure I say her name correctly, Eva Di Peoria.
Yes.
I got it on the first try.
Man.
I got it on the first try. We're going to get to Eva in just a second here. We'll find out more about this great establishment. First off, thank you, Brother Hans, for coming down. As always, thank you, Colton, for coming out as well from EIC. And Eva, thank you for having us. First, let's talk about this great location. I did a little looking at the website, a little my research, and the very first restaurant, what was the name of the family name is? Vasquez's.
Yeah.
First restaurant, Ponchos, which opened in South Phoenix in 1972. And I guess we got to the evolution of Samboros. Tell us a little bit about this. Tell us about yourself, Eva.
Yeah, so I've worked with the company going on 11 years now. I started at the Scottsdale location, so at the moment there was only 5 of us, and we've just kind of grown and expanded, and it's been a great experience to kind of grow with the company. I'm now a district manager, but like everybody else, I started as a counter employee.
Okay, that's a great history. So you've been with the family for a very long time. First off, love the kind of atmosphere in the restaurant. How many of them are there? And what I understand is going on the west side coming up here soon.
Yeah, so including the west side, we currently have 13 boroughs, locations kind of scattered across the valley and one flat.
Okay, so tell us about your relationship with Colt. And first off,
Listen, I'm so excited to be here. For number one, it's the Pollo Fundito is one of my best friends, and I dine at the Scottsdale location. The Vasquez family. Let me just say this: Eva is a embodiment of the culture that they believe in. They develop from within. They love their people. They empower them. They have great people. I mean, we got an example sitting right here next to me, right? She could tell her life story if this could go on longer. Is that there's heart and soul behind this company, and if you meet the family, you get that. And so I've known one of their I think CEO now. I'm not sure what Johnny's title is. He's got a fancy title and he works hard. But I knew Johnny Berling from being on the board at the Hotel Restaurant School at Northern Arizona University. He started on the board and I did. We had a friendship and just kind of blossomed into the business. And as we got to know and meet the Samboros family and the culture, I always loved the food. But I didn't know the people were behind it. And you get to know that. And, there's a lot of great stories. Just like Eva, people that have been here, and they started off at the, doing the hardest work and doing the dirtiest work, which is okay because that's our business.
Yes.
And then they stuck it out and they had grit, and now they're in leadership roles and just doing great.
And I was going to say that's got to be very fulfilling for you to be with the company because nowadays so many people just hop around. You starting behind the counter and then moving from position to position. Now when you're at a spot where you're district manager, I mean, you have to know every part of this business being where you started from.
Yeah. And it's rewarding in itself, not only for myself to grow in the company, but just watching the company grow as well. And it's more locations.
And tell us about the food, because was it Nana's restaurant or Nana's recipes or somebody? It started with long time ago. Tell us about the food and some of the things that separate you guys from just anybody else trying to make burritos.
I think because we put so much love and passion into the recipes, and everyone in the kitchen has been to it, like you said, 10 plus years. We have one of our cooks actually back there right now. Her name's Bolan. I've been with the company going on 17 years now. So yeah, it's just, years with the company, just putting that same passion and love that we had when we first got started.
And what are some of your favorite menu items when you have a chance?
I definitely love the pollo fundido, but I do like to spice it up. Instead of the fundido chicken, I put green chili in there.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
I might have to try that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can taste it right now.
Yeah, exactly.
The way you can mix up the menu is that way.
And tell us a little bit about your relationship with Cole Artisan Beverage Company. How did you guys put this together?
I believe that was the Johnny thing that got that started, but I loved our relationship with Cole. Our customers love our relationship with Cole. I've never seen tea kind of fly off the shelf like it does since we did tea to Cole. So I think across the board, our relationship with them and with our customers has been amazing.
And I love my berry hibiscus. I mean, a few minutes ago, you asked me if I wanted a refill, and actually asked me what I wanted. I'm like, what do you think I want? Oh, my berry hibiscus.
That's right. That was a fail. I failed. Sorry, I let you down.
So we have we're looking at the location. You do want to have one coming up because you're everywhere from Chandler to Tempe, Queen Creek, Red Mountain. You got the one coming up out in Gilbert, I think it was.
Goodyear.
Goodyear. I'm sorry. I knew it was a T. Goodyear. When will that one be open? Is it in the process?
Yeah, so we're aiming for next month, hopefully beginning of next month. But yeah, we're excited. We've gotten requests for a West Side location for quite some time now, and I know we have customers come to our uptown location that have requested Goodyear, so I'm excited to be a part of that.
Let me just say, I may have been in a special room in their corporate office. I may have seen a map of Phoenix. I might have seen little round wonky stickers on different parts of the city that's soon to come. And so I think the west side could be a big addition.
Well, that's the one thing I asked because Javon and I are both over there on the west side, and when we were trying to figure it out, I thought I heard they were putting one. And then I got to give a shout out to Crystal Brudvik. I hope I said her name right. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to. She has been so good to us since we got in here. Your staff is, even from I got here this morning, young lady right there, what is her name? Just turned her back to us.
Oh, that is one of our newer managers. Her name is Lisa.
Okay, when I got here, she opened the door for me. She was so gracious. Crystal, you have some great people working for you.
Yes, and Crystal's actually training here to go to our Goodyear location.
That's what she said, yeah. We mentioned that she
Friends.
Yeah.
Friends.
Well, now we know they're going to be coming to our side. So I will still visit the uptown spot, but obviously being out there in Peoria, it'll be easier to get over there. But we want to make sure everybody, and here's the thing, we always support local businesses. Yeah. And it's great to see, like this isn't a chain that is, like a Chick-fil-A or whatever. This is homegrown from the Vasquez family. And we want to make sure people come out and support these local businesses. Yes. Rather than big chains and stuff like that. You guys are at 12 right now, getting ready to go to 13?
We're at
13. You're ready on the 14th. We want to make sure people know about you and get out here. Tell everybody how they can follow you, website, anything, social media.
Yeah, we're on social media across the board. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, hopefully getting a TikTok started as well. But we're on everything right now.
Real quick, tell us was it Some Burrows Care? Is that something you guys do? Or?
Yeah, so that's actually, we do that with Rancho Police, which is a nonprofit organization in Agua Prieta. We send our suburbs out there 2 times a year to do food donations, financial donations, and just the relationships and the friendships that we've built going out there has been amazing. And they've been doing Rancho Police for 30 years now.
We're going to make sure, because Javon does a lot of posting during the show, we're going to make sure we get that on our site and everything. And we'll try to have you back later on the show, too, just to wrap up maybe some favorite items where somebody comes in. But I love having you on, Eva, and Brother Hans, as always. Thanks for hooking us up. Hey, thanks for hooking us up, man. So we get to meet great people, great businesses, support them, and this is obviously one of them. So thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. We'll have you back on later, too. So I want to make sure everybody comes down and supports this great business all over the valley. We'll give you a list of some of the locations. In the meantime, listen to EJ on the Easy Sports Talk Show, KDUS 1060 AM, KSLX HD channel 100.7. We're on Facebook, Restream, YouTube, you name it, we're out there. Brother Jay's got us plastered all over the place. We're going to take this break. Once again, thank you, Eva. Thank you, Brother Hans, as always. Some Boros. Come on down here to the Uptown spot, 5115 North 7th Street, Phoenix, 85014. Be back after these messages. Got to give it to him, Jay. Are you kidding?
Clear.
Like in the movies.
Thank you. You did a great job.
You did
Thank you so
amazing.
much.
You did amazing.
And what I'll do is, if I can get your email address, I'll cut that up, the segment, this one, and whatever we do later on, and I'll be able to send it to you so you can have it and show it, play it to everybody.
Yeah.
Tell me how
You guys
great
can
you
use it in
did.
your culture.
Yes, awesome.
You did great.
Thank you.
Like you've done this a million times.
Honestly, the first time doing it.
Once you kind of get started,
Yeah.
it's just, it makes it easy.
And it's something that I know.
Right.
Exactly.
Passion comes through.
It really does.
Aw,
Yeah, you
that's
did a
so
great
cool.
job.
I remember the first time I've done some radio before. But I remember the first time it was even before Javon was working with Ed. That I was working. I've done TV. I've done all kinds of stuff, and you forget that he does have a place to live, but it's your voice.
Yeah.
So everything people listen to, they listen to that emotion, they feel passion in your words.
Okay. Okay. You want me to take a
Just take,
second segment here? Okay. Why don't you hang out with me, huh?
What's that?
Why don't you hang out with me because Jay has to take a call or do something real quick. Yeah.
Sure.
We're just going to talk about. Well, I was going to talk Final Four anyway, so you just hang out with me.
Okay. Grab my contract. You back on right now.
No, we got time. We got about
We'll have
two.
you back. What time do you have her back on?
Oh, around 11:30. Yeah. Mhm. Oh, where's my hat? Where's my? Oh, where's mine?
Actually, like, I remember when I was like that.
Hey man, I gotta head out to another
Okay,
event.
man.
Film,
You see that? Hey, that bio I sent you, that is it okay? Or
I haven't looked at it
Okay.
yet, but I'm sure it's totally fine.
just take a look, and if you need to trim it or have me update anything, just let me know.
Cool. Appreciate you doing that, man.
Oh, you know, you got it, man.
Have a good one.
You too.
Tell the guys hello. Good dude.
Is that?
Good dude.
Oh yeah.
He's young. He's learning a lot.
You want to do the read?
Good.
Second read?
Yeah, sure.
Toronto music.
Okay, got it.
I'm always passing those off.
Got it, man. I got you. That's what I'm here for.
I remember when we first started the show, Jay would do them all the time, or I would still doing them because with Jim, I was doing pretty much everything. And then at one point, Jay was like, "Can we do the reads?" And I was like, still holding on to them. And then finally, I was like, "Yeah, no, you do." And welcome back to the Easy Sports Talk Show. Hope you're having a beautiful start to your weekend. It's getting a little hot out here in Arizona, man. It's supposed to be up to 97 today. Oh, so much for that coolness of the winter and the fall. This segment right here is brought to you by
Milano Music, family owned and operated for over 70 years. Over 50,000 square foot showroom, repair facility, 18 instrument rental depots across the valley. Visit milanomusic.com or call them at 480-827-1111.
And that voice you hear is Brother Hans. He's sitting in for Jay. He had to step away for a second, but he will be back. Brother Hans, right when we got together today, the first thing you did, you want to give me a hug in memoriam of my Tar Heels coming up just a little short this past week on Monday. Final Four came down to UNC Kansas because Kansas dusted Villanova, and then we took care of our arch enemies, Duke 81-77. That was the Saturday game. And man, you sent me a message right away. You know how much I bleed blue for my heels, and it was like, oh my God, they got past Duke, ended Coach K's, his career, his legacy, and then the one thing I had to remind all my Duke, my enemies was, forever you're gonna have to remember that we won the last one in Cameron,
Right.
and then we ended them at the Final Four when they basically the coronation was on. It was like they were ready to crown Duke because they got that far. And how could they not finish it off? But we beat them. We got to a Kansas 15-point lead at the half. Could not hold on. I'm not sure if you watched the game.
I did.
What were your thoughts? Because I was. Go ahead. What were your thoughts?
North Carolina was on fire. They ran through the tournament. They you could say they overachieved, but their players were amazing.
Yeah.
Their point guard was everywhere. He looked like he couldn't miss. And so you could feel that momentum, right? So sports is a game of momentum. You got to have great players. They got to have a great game plan, but it's momentum. And you're right that everybody wanted Duke to win because it's so sentimental.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
just ripping with sentimentality. And that game when they're up by 15, I thought, Kansas is too good. This is not going to end like this.
I was never comfortable. Even when we were up 15,
Right.
I was never comfortable. And then when they came out to start the second half, I was like, oh my God, I could feel it. And it was just getting at me, right? And the lead just kept going away. And next thing you know, and then they got to a back and forth. And when they took the lead with just a little bit of time left, it was one of those things where like my heart was hurt. And I was like, I just never felt comfortable. And at the same time, man, it was if we would have pulled it off, it would have been like the fantasy ending for me.
Number 8 seed?
Number 8 seed.
Come on.
And they were an 8 seed because they lost. They played the top tier teams throughout the year, and we just kept getting beat big. So we were 8 seed. In the end, man, I can't be more proud than my boys, even though it hurt. It hurt.
Listen, you make it to I don't care what sport is the Super Bowl. It's hard. It's great to win. It's hard to lose. When we look back and go, this is where we finished. There's only 2 of us that made it this far.
I had a question for Jay. You're sitting in, obviously. I'm going to ask you this question.
Sure.
What other sport, college basketball, amongst them all, what other sport comes and goes so fast? Because you got to remember, most people don't even pay attention to the regular season unless it's your team.
Unless it's your team. That's
Then we
right.
get the March Madness, and it's like the whole world turns on, and it's for 3 weeks, right?
Right.
You know how quiet it got? Because you know what I did on Monday, Tuesday after we lost the game on Monday night. I avoided sports radio as much as I could because I just didn't want to hear, how we lost. But by Wednesday, it was like, gone.
Yeah.
What other sport comes and goes that fast? I was thinking about like the World Cup, right? But the rest of the year, the whole world pays attention to soccer. But the World Cup comes and it's like for 3 weeks or whatever it is. Then that goes away, but then the world gets back to the regular soccer consumption, especially outside of the U.S. Can you think of another?
There's not an athletic event that gets built up like March Madness.
Yeah.
Think about it, right? And people that don't even play the March Madness, they get in and they pick their teams and they make crazy predictions and nothing. And so the crescendo that builds in that short amount of time, and you've got these teams out of nowhere that are beating these guys that have been, it's
St.
like
Peter's,
right. The St. Peter's story was great because what it does is it brings people to a sport that wouldn't ordinarily watch, right? Because everybody loves what? People love the underdog.
Yeah.
People love the underdog. How are these guys overachieving like that? Yeah, it's grit. It's heart. And
68 teams, 3 weekends.
Yeah.
We go into a frenzy.
Right.
My favorite, I'm not going to lie to you. I try to avoid all work and everything on the first weekend, the Thursday, Friday. There's 16 games on Thursday, 16 on Friday. Man, I know a lot of people do the same thing. You dig in deep, and then, like I said, it gets to a crescendo, especially if your team continues to advance.
Right.
But then we get to the Tuesday after the championship game, and it's like it just goes away. It's like we just go back to normal living. It just comes and goes.
Yeah.
Well,
except for I know somebody who was in mourning, so let's be honest.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Yeah, I had an extra day of mourning, so it was rough for me. But, I'm serious, man. I couldn't have been more proud of them just to get to that point. And we'll see what with college basketball it'll come back in October or whatever it is,
Quick.
and then nobody even really pays attention until we get to March Madness. It seems like.
Yeah. No, I mean, the diehards are in, like
Yeah.
you said, they're
Well, for
following
me,
their
yeah, I
teams.
watch my Tar Heels.
Right.
and,
They're
yeah.
watching some of the big teams that are moving and making things happen. But you're right. It's one of those things where the whole country kind of gets behind.
Yeah.
That in America, everybody's watching March Madness.
What are your thoughts? Because now Coach K will leave, obviously, and there's all the rumors that he's considering coming back. But when you lose, let's talk about from a leadership role. When you lose someone like that, and not just for the basketball team, but a representative of you got to remember, like Duke was, who knew what Duke was back in the early 80s when he took that over?
Right.
He's made it one of the most prestigious and well-known names as far as college basketball, or even their football team gets a little club when they can win every now and then.
Right.
But as far as their basketball program, he's elevated it so much. When you lose a leader like that, how do you replace that? Or
you can't replace an individual, but you can bring in new leadership, right?
Yeah.
I mean, is there another Coach K? Probably not. There's those iconic coaches throughout the history that you don't really replace them. Now, it's not that you can't bring in somebody that can keep the team motivated, inspired, and maybe a little different voice, and they react a certain way. Man, you
can't replace that.
You don't replace that.
Now, I'll ask you this: is it an advantage that he's still going to keep his office in the building? He'll still be around, but does his shadow kind of like those things? Nobody ever wants to replace the legend. You don't want to be the next guy,
right?
So, and I think Shiver is the new head coach as far as when he takes over. That shadow upstairs would you rather have that shadow a little further away, or is it comfortable to have him there so when sticky situations come up you can go talk to him real quick? Or what would be, is it good or bad?
I think it could be both. And I can't relate it as a sports person, but as a corporate working in a corporation, I replaced the guy, and he decided to he got promoted, decided to take a seat as a corporate guy to stay in our building.
Yeah.
And his goal was to overshadow everything. So it was a absolute disastrous scenario because he second guessed and he would go around and talk to people. And I don't know that, I don't know Coach K. I don't know what his personal philosophies are and his ethics and how he does that. Does he bring people up? Does he all that stuff?
Yeah.
All that matters because now he's moving from coaching and mentoring into like corporate leadership, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. So now he has to transition too as an individual. So people do it great. Some people do it lousy.
Yeah.
And so it's a switch you have to click. And it's part of his growth as a person. Even at 75 years old, he has to now become something that he hasn't been.
Yeah.
He's been part of it, but now he's got to step into it 100%. And that's not easy for people.
I would imagine, yeah.
What do you think? You've seen it. You've lived it.
I have the thought that he's one of those guys that's going to do it the right way. And we didn't go. Coach Roy Williams, he wasn't there as long as North Carolina. He went to Kansas, spent a bunch of years there, came back to North Carolina. He stepped down last year.
Right.
Hubert Davis is our new coach. And initially, I was like, oh my God. Coach Roy Williams was at just about every game you can imagine, but he was there as a baby. And it was I was always curious, is he up there thinking I would be this different or almost, at maybe a halftime Hubert, we need to talk about. But it seemed like he took that step away and, to let this be Hubert's program. I do think Coach Krzyzewski is going to try to do the same thing. Like I said, his shadow just might be a little bigger, a whole lot bigger, and it might loom there. So it's going to be interesting to see if he has that ability to, when you step away, totally step away. I'm curious about how he pulls that off.
Well, the new coach has to take the reins and run with it and not look over his shoulder, right? They got to put that person in a position for success and not encumber them with, well, if you don't know, go do this. And I bet what Coach Williams did, he redirected everything back, right?
Yeah.
Back to go coach.
Yeah.
Not me, go coach.
Yeah.
He's no longer so that's how you break some of that.
He almost looked a little too comfortable up in the stands just watching rather than coaching. But that's good for him though. He truly stepped away. And like I said, he was so proud. Some of my favorite scenes were when like him up there, like a true fan, just like screaming and
Right.
five
Letting
and
it go.
stuff. Yeah, letting it go. So that was really interesting. So,
Right.
Brother Hahn, appreciate you stepping in, man, hanging out with us. This is the Easy Sports Talk Show, KDUS 1060 AM, KSLX HD channel 227. Come to you live from some boroughs in Phoenix, 5115 North 7th Street, Phoenix 85014. 13 other locations to go check out, so make sure you get to one of them. A great show, man. We'll be back after these messages. Brother Jay is back. I hope you have a good start to your weekend so far. No, Jay, you give it to him.
You get.
Thank you, brother. Huh? Okay. Uh-huh. Okay. Okay, yeah, Dash, man. I'll go ahead. Hans, you want to sit in with me?
It's an energy.
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Can you give Hans your sheet and I'll just, yeah, this. So yeah, we can roll through this.
Good thing I'm here today.
Hey, no man, no bad. You gonna take care of your business, bro. It's all good.
Listen, if I can step in for you anytime, just consider me your shadow.
Yeah, I'm just sorry you're going through that. Go ahead and handle it. Take care of it, man. It's just a radio show. We get through this.
Yeah. There's a lot. Then don't forget your phone.
Anything else you need? Oh yeah.
Is it this one? No. Which one? Not
I
that.
did.
Yeah, no, there was a cord plugged into there. Yes.
Yeah, I think I did.
Yeah, this is it right here, right?
Yeah, that looks like it. Okay, so yeah, good. Yeah, go handle your business, man. I'll house you later on too after the show. If you need anything, let me know if I can do anything.
Just the sermon. We're going to be right at that point. If he comes back and tries to mess stuff up,
Yeah.
I don't know what he did.
Yeah.
I live here for 5 years. Oh, how you like it here?
Go. You can take
Put
those
that in the
pictures.
pot.
Yeah,
Okay.
just put it in the-
Okay.
All right, thanks, Thomas.
All right, bro.
You guys be talking at home.
Appreciate you stepping in, brother. Huh? What's that?
Your Twitter account?
Uh-huh.
Twitter handle?
Oh yeah, it's at Easy Sports Talk. Yes, ma'am. And here's a card too, if you want to take a card. Where they at? Oh, here they are. I'm sorry, buried behind the sink.
Yeah, I got it. I got it.
There you go. Hey, Aaron. Jay had to step out. He's got some issues back at the house, so Hans is going to sit with me for the rest of the show. Just let you, yeah. So we're all good.
That's okay.
You're the man. Appreciate you. Otherwise, I'd be sitting here by myself.
Well,
Nah, I could pull it off, but it's always good to have a partner with you.
yeah, we got this. Anything coming up I need to think about?
Oh yeah, you can do the reads too.
Yes, Majestic Services next.
And welcome back to the Easy Sports Talk Show. Hope you're enjoying the beautiful start to your weekend. A little hot out here in Arizona. Over on the East Coast, probably a little cooler. Everybody getting ready for the good weather. We're getting ready to go inside for a while. This segment right here is brought to you by
Majestic Services. Contact Majestic Services to do all the dirty work around your home or business. Majestic Services will pressure wash your driveways, awnings, pool decks, sidewalks, and anything else. Call Majestic Services at 602-614-9401 for your free, no obligation quote today.
So if you are watching us on Facebook or Restream or any other way, or just driving and listening, or while listening to us on your computer, you hear that voice, don't adjust your dial. That is Brother Hans, who's going to be sitting there with you for the rest of the show. Brother Jay had an emergency, had to go back to the house and take care of some stuff. That's some renovation stuff done in the house. You all know how projects can sometimes go awry.
Never a dull moment.
Yeah, it's one of those things we had to get out, and he'll be back next week. Like I said, Brother Jay, get home safe, take care of what you got to take care of, and we got you back, man. So, Brother Hans, appreciate you sitting in with us.
Here.
Coming to you live today from some boroughs here at it's the Uptown some boroughs, 5115 North 7th Street in Phoenix. Crossroads, basically a little north of Camelback and 7th Street.
Just south of Camelback.
South.
And on 7th Street. You can't miss it.
Okay, is it south or north?
I think
it's north.
Is it north? Oh,
Yeah.
you're right. It is.
Yeah,
north.
I'm north. Yeah.
Don't listen to me.
Got me second guessing myself.
I was a Boy Scout. I can only find my way if I'm in the woods.
How do you do that? You watch the sun or whichever direction? Now, what if it's cloudy?
You listen to the grass. The dirt.
You listen
Tells
to
you
the
where to
dirt. Okay. So, Brother Hans, the Phoenix Suns, you were just at a game last week, I think it was. You went to
Yeah,
see the
Sixers, man. What a game.
And they have continued to impress me with how they've approached this season. Now sitting one game away from ending the regular season. They've already clinched the number one seed. That was done a couple weeks ago, I think it was.
Yeah.
64-17 on the season. They broke their franchise record of 62 wins on Tuesday against the Lakers. They beat them
Against who?
against the Lakers. Let's say, sorry, Jay, if you're listening while you're driving. Eliminated the Lakers, at the same time established the all-time winning season, 63 games, and since tacked on with a win against Utah last night. What impresses me is that they have not taken their foot off the gas.
No.
And because right about now, a lot of teams will be resting guys, and Monty, what he's done, he's figured out a way to individually rest guys, but not just shut them down. Because even Booker played last night against the Jazz.
He did, right.
And I'm thinking, wow, he's still getting some work in. Getting ready for the playoffs.
He had a monster game.
Did he? What did it look like?
33.
33?
Yeah.
Man, they really look good. Every time they're getting more and more respect from the talking heads as well. For a while it was kind of like the Suns are okay, but now I'm hearing they're the clear, at least obviously it's on paper and in talk, but they're the clear-cut favorite, especially with Memphis being number 2 seed, but not necessarily a juggernaut. The Warriors having their struggles fell off big time. So we look like the clear favorite to win the West. We'll see how everything plays out. What is your overall look at this team like? Because I got a question for you. What has been your overall feel for this team?
You know what? I think even a game like last night where they're playing for being sharp, staying on the razor's edge, right? And they played a great game. They played a tough team. They played on the road. They're behind a little bit. They came back, and they took care of business. And I think the taste in their mouth of losing in the finals last year is vibrant. I think they taste it every day, and they do not want that to happen again. Now they still got to get to the finals, and the West has been kind of weird, right?
Yeah.
You got powerhouses that have not been there. You get the top 6 from after Memphis. They haven't finished strong. None of those teams have been finishing strong. And so, the Lakers are supposed to win it. They don't make the playoffs. So it's interesting. But you can't not bet for them. You can't. I don't think anybody's going to bet against them to get through the West. So I'm really super curious who's going to come out of the East.
Yeah, that's going to be a big question, especially. We'll get that in just a second. Let's touch that in a second. As you mentioned, top 6 seeds: Phoenix, Memphis, Golden State, Dallas, Utah, and Denver. And we got the play-in scenario.
Right.
We'll talk about that in a minute because it kind of affects us in terms of we don't even know who our first-round opponent's going to be because they have to go through that whole play-in scenario, which does not include the Los Angeles Lakers. Once again, we'll repeat that. So my question, and Jay and I have been talking about this for a while. We've been hinting at it, as expectations grow, because they've been so successful. At the beginning of the year, it was last year a fluke, Then they go almost wire to wire as the number one seed. Now it's almost expected. Like I always say to Jay, is this championship or bust? A good friend of mine and Jay's, he's a great writer, Dan Bickley. I got to give him credit. He actually wrote an article, and in his article he talked about the Suns' impressive run must end with an NBA championship. And in that article, he wrote, a team like this must win the title. A team this superior must win, bring home the championship, or they risk an unfortunate asterisk to the record they are about to set. And that would be most disappointing team in franchise history. That's what he's talking about. And you're talking about, because I've been saying, the fans, or they, now it goes from just us whispering about it. It's in writing now. It almost seems like this is championship or bust. And I'll ask you, what if, say, somehow, because we don't know who's coming out of the East, maybe Memphis, trips us up, whatever, if this team does not win a championship, is it the most disappointing team in franchise history? And I guess you have to go back to some of those Barkley teams and Stoudemire teams, Steve Nash, right. And we didn't get there. But at the time, the expectations, it always seems like we have a huge foe in front of us we were trying to overcome. Now we are the Goliath in some people's minds. Is this going to be a bust?
I don't think so. I think they're going to go. They got such a really
I didn't ask you that, though. I asked you if something trips them up, does it then become this season was a huge bust?
No.
No?
No. Who doesn't want to win the championship? Right?
Everybody, yeah.
Right. The Lakers want to win the championship. They don't even get a chance. So I think the fans, I've lived all over the place. Phoenix is an interesting market. It's very much a transient market, right?
Yeah.
You have a lot of people here from lots of other places. So the sports teams, they don't get that frantic following like you do in Boston and Chicago and LA and some places like that. I'm not dishing on the teams or the fans. And the game that I was able to go to, I was a guest of Northern Arizona University in their suite. Fans were rabid. And I think they're so excited to see this level of success. Now, do they want a championship? Heck yeah. Are they going to be? Were you brokenhearted when the Heels didn't win?
Yeah.
Right. You still love them?
But my expectations were lower.
True.
And I'll throw this out at you
True.
since you brought up college basketball. Think about Gonzaga. They were the lovely feel-good story 10, 12, 13 years ago when they were always that mid-major that fought, and they got to the Sweet 16. Now they're number one seeds every year. Right. They beat up on everybody in their whatever conference, your Pacifics, your University of San Francisco. Right. They were the number one overall seed, and people were like, including me, picked them in 3 or 4 of my pools to win the championship. They end up busting. Now they went from the lovely underdog to now we're totally disappointed when I'm never going to, and if the same, like I thought, if they don't win it this year, they're never going to win it because this was their best opportunity. There was no other juggernaut to go through. They're the number one overall seed. Then they bow out, and and you're right about the transient nature of our Suns fans, but their expectations have now been built up. Right. So say if they fall, man, people are going to be like, if they can't win it now with this team, they're never going to do it.
Right.
And that's kind of.
But isn't that just the magic of sports, though?
Yeah.
Because you got to show up, right?
Yes.
At every game, anything can happen. I mean, I know that as a spectator. You see things like, oh, I didn't see that coming. How did those guys pull that off, or whatever? And so you're probably right that if they don't win the championship, I got a buddy, one of our customers, bought playoff tickets all the way to the end. As they go on, they get charged. He's got 16 seats. Yeah. He's like, I better be charged the full amount because I want to see him win the championship.
I'm at that point, man, where I believe in the Suns. I've been so impressed with them. In my mind, if they don't win the championship this year, think about how long that offseason is going to be. Yeah. And what it does, it sometimes adds a little pressure. This team, though, is different. I don't know if Monty will allow them to buy into the pressure and everything because they've been playing so well all year. So we're going to get a chance. When we come back, we're going to give a little, like the playoffs and the scenario of playing and everything. Explain that to everybody because some people, I was even a little confused because normally you know who your first round opponent is. You start to prepare. We still don't even know who it is. So come back. We'll jump into that real quick and then also dive in to that mess going on over there in LA too. You know, I always like to give Jay a little hard time about that. But, you know, it's crazy, man. Anyway, appreciate you sitting in with us,
Thank
brother
you.
Hans.
Thank you.
Easy Sports Talk. Jay had to take off, so it's Easy and Hans to finish this one out. Appreciate you coming from live from Some Boroughs, 5115 North 7th Street in Phoenix, a little north of Camelback and 7th Street. Coming out to this great location, or find one in your area as well. Look them up. We'll take this break. Hope you're having a great weekend so far, folks. Try to stay cool out there because it is nasty. 97 today. Be back. Are you good? Thanks, Aaron.
Good question, man.
Huh?
Good question. Way to put the old man on the spot.
Oh, no, no.
I mean that in a good way.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Well, that sparks the conversation because I do that. That's what we do.
Right.
You know, because sometimes Jay will give me an answer. He can look in my eyes and see I'm getting ready for him because I something he said.
That's something you need to say.
Yeah.
You know, I think last year people were like blown away. Like, oh my gosh, they made it to the finals.
Yeah.
I think this year they're like, we made the finals last year. I think we can win this year. Now, if they didn't make it this year and they got there again next year, I think the expectations build over time. It's not a 1 year.
I think because of their success, they've been so good. Like they haven't even had to fight. They've been so good all year. Like like even last year, it was back and forth. They were, jockeying for the 2-1 spot, but they, fell a little short. They were so dominant all year that success might in turn to being their enemy in terms of.
We thought that the Warriors were going to play a stink bomb.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I figured they'd be.
Who thought
right there
Memphis was
pushing
going to
them.
step up? Because I think. Let me see here.
Is Seth coming back?
Yeah, those two right around the playoffs. It looks. Let me see. They actually 8.5 games clear of Memphis, 12.5 clear of the Warriors. And it's like, are you kidding me? I mean that. And then over in the East, you got.
As we're giving away some cold brew coffee cans, if you want to grab a couple, take with you. Please. Yeah.
Over in the East, you got 5 teams
They're a
within
little
5.
damp, but yeah, you bet.
Have a good day. 5 teams within 5 games of each other. So you got 2 games, 3 games, 3.5. So, I mean, we pretty much just demolished this season.
Yeah, no kidding.
We'll see them. Can't tell you enough. Appreciate you, brother.
Good, man. We doing, is it, how do you say it?
Casual Sports Network.
Casual.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mm. Mm. Hey, did you see this, brother? Hound? We'll talk about this later on. Look at segment 6. Diamondbacks. Yeah. Look at the 2022 payroll.
Oh my gosh. Colson was at the opening game.
Oh, was he?
Got to
Okay.
see the home run, the walk-off.
Oh, okay, the walk-off. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, and I'm going to throw this. 2 games. First game, they were no hit for 6. Second game, no hit for 7. Have only scored in 1 inning, even though they got the win with the walk-off. They've only scored in 1 inning out of 18 innings.
Yeah, they
4
won a
runs.
game on 1 swing.
1 swing.
Right.
It's going to be a long. And you get excited because it's like, oh my God, we're 1-0. They were only 1-1. We get, 162 games later, they're like 52. And welcome back to the Easy Sports Talk Show. You know who that is right there?
Hey, Jay Love, man.
That's Jay Love right there.
Right there.
My partner getting it in. This segment right here is brought to you by.
It's brought to you by Casual Sports Radio Network. KSRN is your destination for the latest updates and in-depth coverage of your Arizona sports teams, including all things Arizona Cardinals. For the big Bird Gang fan base, Visit casualsports.com for featured articles, great podcasts, including the Easy Sports Talk Show, music programming with microphone masters, and much more.
And I forgot to mention at the end of the show, if you want to get at us, Aaron is behind the glass. Give him a call on the Easy Sports Talk hotline, 602-260-1060 if you want to tweet at us at the Easy Sports Talk. At Ed Smith Speaks and Javon Love, and that's Love with LUV. You got a Twitter, huh?
No, sir. No tweeting.
I love Colt.
We do Instagram, Facebook. I love Colt.
Okay.
I love Colt.
I don't tweet much at all either. I mean, people
Yeah.
make fun of me because I'm in the media. I'm supposed to be that all social and everything like that.
Yeah.
Some of my brothers like Ed Cole and Paul Richardson, man. I mean, they get at me because for years I've been that dude that just doesn't tweet. I'm a great retweeter though. I love
There you go.
retweet.
There you go.
When I'm in a tweet, somebody mentions me, I retweet the heck out of that. I just don't do a whole lot of tweeting. So coming to you live today from Some Boroughs, 5115 North 7th Street in Phoenix, a little north of Camelback and 7th Street. There's 13 other locations, 13 total locations here in the Valley. Make sure you go to someboroughs.com to find out the nearest location to you and make sure you support that great business. So before we left, Brother Hans, we were talking about Suns playoffs, not even knowing when they're playing in the first round. Let's real quick explain the play-in situation. So basically the top 6 teams are safe. And what happens is 7, 8, 9, and 10, they're in a situation where they have to fight a little extra to get in. So what happens is 8 and 7 play. So 8 goes to 7. And this situation is Clippers and Timberwolves. The winner of that game claims the 7th spot.
They're in.
So they're in. They're done.
Done. They can breathe.
The loser has to play the winner of 10 and 9. So in this instance, it will be the Spurs and Pelicans. So whoever, and would have been Lakers if they could have squeezed in, but unfortunately, no. So Spurs and Pelicans play. Whoever wins that one plays the winner of the other one, or the loser of the other one.
Of the, right, 7 and 8.
And then you have your 8 seed. So,
Yeah, it's a,
I mean, technically speaking, we could be playing any of those 4.
that's right.
Clippers, Timberwolves, Spurs, or Pelicans, however
That is
it works
exactly
out.
right.
So, I guess because the play-in is real quick, it's April 12th to the 15th, but the playoffs then start on the 16th. So it's like you have a quick turnaround in terms of who you're going to be playing. Game plan, well, it is a 7-game series. I guess, if it was a 1 game, like for the Suns, you'd worry a little bit, but it's a 7-game series. We should be able to handle either or any of those teams in a 7-game series. The one that gives me a little pause, I would say, would be the Clippers. Veteran team, Paul George
Paul's
back.
back. He's getting healthy. He's getting, he's got his shot back. He's confident. They've been playing pretty well.
Yeah, but
they've been playing pretty well.
once again, that would be a 1 versus an 8. There's no reason
Right.
that we should have any pause or think that they might lose that, but like I said, we'll see.
If Kawhi was on the floor with Paul, it'd be a
if
different
Kawhi was
conversation.
on the floor, they wouldn't have been an 8.
That's right. You're exactly right.
They wouldn't even be fighting for that position. Unlike another organization who has, quote unquote, one of the best to ever play the game. They went out and got this other dude, Anthony Davis. They made a trade for this other guy, Russell Westbrook. They go get Carmelo Anthony. You run down the list, any old dude, some of these dudes got their AARP cards I think, already, but they go out and they stack this team that is going to be a juggernaut in the West, and we're 31 to where they at 32 and 49, 11th place in the West,
Right.
out of the play-in scenario. And what was kind of apropos, I think the Suns actually booted them out on Tuesday with their win,
They did.
and it was I almost feel like it was a statement game because Anthony Davis running his mouth a couple weeks ago about if I was healthy last year, and it's like, okay, all that being said, you guys are fighting to get in, and we stopped you from even getting in.
Let's see it. Well, remember the Suns also set their record
yeah.
at that. So 2 things happened.
Two
in that
things,
game.
yeah. That you think that they looked at that one on because they very easily they've got the one locked up. They could all just took a day to kind of get some rest. They came out and put their foot on them.
Yeah, I think there's no doubt about it. It's like, you want to question, our character as a team? Let us give you a big blast of it.
121-110 on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And that now let me ask you a question, because I mean, you're not a Laker fan like Jay, but I've been getting really kind of I'm over LeBron James at this point. Obviously, he had a great season statistically. With that talent, You can't tell me, and I don't care who was injured, who was out. Because even with the Clippers, they made it in. They didn't have Kawhi and Paul George for a majority of the season. Kawhi has not even stepped on the court this year, and they still got into the playoffs.
Right.
You're talking about with that group, you could not just get into the play. It's embarrassing if you ask me, if I'm a Lakers fan, especially with the amount of noise that's going on from there.
I think they're going to have to. If they don't look from the top to the bottom, then they have a leadership problem in the organization.
I do. I think so too. Now let me ask you, because LeBron James could have. It seems like he picked and chose the games he was not going to play.
It seemed like that.
It was an ankle. How my ankle's going? So he didn't play against the Suns on Tuesday. He's taking all kind of games on and off, I should say. And Anthony Davis, obviously, human walking, injury report himself.
Yeah,
But James seems like he picked his games when he wanted to play, and then he could have actually gone after the scoring title. They had 2 games left last night. No, against the Thunder yesterday,
and
then
yesterday against the Thunder.
Yeah.
Right.
Then they finish off with the Nuggets tomorrow. Because they shut him down. Do you think they had to talk him into being shut down? Because if he played the 2 games, he had an extra chance. He was only like 0.4 behind Embiid as far as scoring title.
Right.
He probably wanted that so bad, but the optics of it, in my opinion, there's no way you could do it.
No, you got to has to be team first, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and I think that LeBron's been around long enough. He's a businessman, he's a professional, he's an incredible athlete, generational. I think he's embarrassed. And to get that title wouldn't make him less embarrassed.
No.
So it was. Oh, I think you're spot on.
I wonder if they had to talk to him to say, "Hey, LeBron, you didn't play on Tuesday against these guys.
A game we had to have.
Game we had to have.
Right.
Man, that would look really bad if you go out there these last 2,
right.
even though it's for a cause, for your cause.
Right.
That would look really bad. And I wonder who had to talk with him and how that one ended, because he seems to be running that organization.
Yeah,
he really does.
I looked at it. Yeah, you listen to the Coach Vogel and some of this.
Coach Vogel in name only though, because I think he's going to take. They're going to blame him. Let me ask you this. Good question here. We see how dysfunctional they are. They're dysfunctional at the top, which is GM and ownership. Then you got the next level player or coach,
right?
And then you got the player level. They're dysfunctional at every level. Yet they're going to point the finger at Vogel.
Always.
I mean,
that's how it is.
And that works in business all the time too.
Yeah, it's just how it is. And when you take those positions, you get that big paycheck. You take that responsibility, whether it's right or not, whether it's fair or not fair. It doesn't really matter, does it?
No.
In business and in life, which includes sports, because sports is a business. You look at the next one in line saying you should have got you had all these tools, you should have got a different result.
And it always depends who's paying attention, because sometimes ownership will put. I've been in. Let's take this to business. Ownership will put somebody in like a sales manager role, right?
Right.
Horrible leader, but he's got a staff underneath him that's pretty good, but he's just horrible in terms of direction. And then when the numbers don't show up, what does he do? He has the good relationship with the owner, right? So he fires all the salespeople because they're inept.
Right.
Meanwhile, he's the one that has no clue what he's doing.
In a weak organization, you're exactly right. And here's the thing. When Vogel took that job, when people get promoted, like that great sales guy got promoted to sales manager, they're not the ones that made the mistake. All they did was say, oh, you want me to do it?
Yeah.
I'll do it. It's the decision makers that own that. And decision makers, a lot of times, will stand back and say, I mean, the cat had a chance. It's not my fault he failed. No, it is your fault. If you put him or her in that position, and you got to get behind them and help them be successful, which means coaching them through all of that. Yeah. Everything, every aspect. Everything matters and everything counts. Always remember.
With the Lakers, if you had to point a finger or give blame, because, I mean, ownership's been bad. GM Pelinka, I mean, if he acquiesced to LeBron and did everything that he told him that he wanted to do, he has to take some blame for that. Vogel trying to manage all that, in my opinion, is the man with absolutely no. I mean, he's in the water without an oar for the most part, trying to guide this bunch of misfit toys to And so, I mean,
legacy players, but they still have to play hard together, right? And they've got to have something, left. And I mean, you can't. I mean, AD's a beast. LeBron has an incredible thing. You know, Russ. Carmel. I remember watching Carmelo Anthony when he played in the finals.
Yeah. All right, 1 hour down, coming to you live from some boroughs in Phoenix. Great show so far. Appreciate you, Brother Han, stepping in for Brother Jay while he's away. Hope you're having a great weekend so far. Hour 2 coming back up, folks. We'll be back after this. Are you good? Thanks, Aaron.
You know, it's so hard to speculate, but I bet you the Lakers organization is just rocky.
Yeah.
Ego-driven.
Oh, everything.
Ego-driven.
Want something, Phil?
I'm good. I'm good.
Right back.
Got my coffee still. And I bet it's just rotten, man.
Oh,
I
yeah.
bet it's just
Well,
rotten.
especially because all the finger pointing, and then like LeBron thinks he's got this much power. Your boy Vogel, basically just a man. He's just a figurehead, you know. Good looking dog right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So right now you're thinking, man, glad Hans reads his sports.
You could have done no. See, you could do this in your sleep. So even like I said, because we don't go too deep into
Right.
scores and analyzing this, we do more casual talking about subjects. So, I mean, that's your specialty.
So we in segment 5.
Yep. This segment is Colt. Top of the hour.
Colt.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What's that? We'll be when we're done. Don't worry.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
We're gonna crush it.
And welcome back to the Easy Sports Talk Show, Hour 2. Sitting in for Brother Jay is Brother Hans. Thank you, sir.
On the hot seat.
Yeah, coming in hot. That's what I say. Yeah. This segment right here is brought to you by
Holt Artisan Beverage Company, the official beverage company of the Easy Sports Talk Show. One of the first to launch nitrogen-infused coffee in the Valley. We offer everything from specialty coffees, botanical infusion lines, teas, and our sugar-free brewed beverages. You can find out more about Colt on our website, ilovecolt.com. Lots of great things there to check out.
I got to give a shout out to our brother Paul. He is checking us out as always. And Brother Paul, if you got a second, let me know, is this championship or bust for the Suns this year? I know you've been on that narcotic, man, getting it in. That's what he calls it. He's diehard Suns. So he's been hitting it hard. I know they've been keeping him happy. So, Brother Paul, if you're there, just let me know, is it bust or championship? And then, Brother Hans, real quick, tell us what's going on, the official beverage company of the Easy Sports Talk Show. What is going on? You got any moving and shaking? You always moving and shaking. Anything in particular you guys are working on?
Yes. Thank you. Just real quick, our new bottled botanical infusion, we talked about it. We've shown it here. I can officially make the statement that Sprouts, natural grocery chain, is going to launch our bottles across the entire country.
Wow.
Almost 400 of their locations in June. So
Okay.
big deal for our company. Fry's, which is the number one market share leader in Arizona, the Fry's grocery stores, are also launching our new bottles. We have 3 flavors in Arizona at all their stores. Also in June, I think. And so, hey man, we're super excited, working our rear ends off to keep up with all that. We got some other exciting things coming around the corner.
That's good stuff, man.
It is good stuff, and we got a great crew, we have great customers, and we have just a special product in that botanical.
And thank you for always keeping us in the loop and all the partnerships and great people you introduce us to, just like here at Somboros. Just to remind everybody, we are here at the Phoenix, the Uptown location, 5115 North 7th Street. They have 13 total across the valley with number 14 coming out on the west side of Goodyear.
Finally.
Cannot wait for that. And our, let me
Special
see,
people.
was it Crystal Bredvik? She is actually tutoring here. She will be out on the west side working that one. So can't wait to have them open that one up soon. And we'll definitely be hitting that one up.
Friends in the business,
There you
baby.
go,
Friends
there
in
you
the
go.
business.
See, like I said, I would come all the way here, but it's going to be so much easier sliding over to the west side. So some news in the NFL, somewhat Cardinals related too. Our former head coach, only for a year, Steve Wilkes. He was the predecessor of Cliff Kingsbury, only here for a year, and it was a kind of a disastrous year. But he ended up joining the lawsuit with Brian Flores, the class action lawsuit against the NFL. He and defensive coordinator Ray Horton, they joined the lawsuit, and what Wilkes is now a secondary coach with the Panthers. What he alleges is that he was fired and replaced with current coach Cliff Kingsbury after the 3-13 season, which was a disaster. But he basically was considered a bridge coach, not giving any meaningful chance to succeed, and also includes claims that Wilkes that he wanted to trade up for current quarterback, Bills quarterback Josh Allen in the 2018 draft, which would have been the 1 year he was here. Instead, the organization they all went out and made sure that they got Josh Rosen. So he's basically saying that in that 1 year, and it was a disastrous year. Jay and I, we were doing the show at the time, and every week it was like, oh my God, how bad can it be? It was like I said, 3-13 didn't even explain how bad that team was. And it was almost like, man, he's in over his skis. But then I'm looking at some of his allegations, and I'm starting to think maybe they did set him up for failure. But it's a hard one to judge because they were so bad, and it seemed like he was so inept. But if you're not given the tools, and if you're steered in the wrong direction, meaning you wanted this player to make you give this one, I mean, do you think there's any validity to his claims? And doesn't it look bad for the Cardinals to a certain degree, or not at all?
Yes, no.
Okay.
I think there's validity. There's a little smoke fire, and I think that the world we're in today, people are more aggressively trying to tell their story. Now, stories always have perspective issues, right?
Yeah.
There's a perspective from the coach, from Coach Wilkes, and there's a perspective from the organization,
Yeah.
right? And now there's going to be a legal team in there trying to
Decipher and
right, which makes things even weirder
Yeah.
because they're going to legalize it all
Yes,
and
sir.
make it, and so it's
use
hard
all
to,
the fancy terminology.
right.
And,
Sometimes it's hard to get to the truth. It's not always the truth that's being sought out. My guess is these coaches, and I don't know, they have, they feel like they've been wronged, and it's a business. It's a brutal business. And remember, we said earlier, sometimes when you say, "I'll take the job," you're not the one that, whether you were prepared or not, had the skills or not, had the passion or not, is the people that put you in that job that got to be held accountable.
yeah, they were so bad, and then, like I said, he was, in my opinion, so bad that I'm really perplexed in terms of, nah, dude, I think you were just in over your skis. You didn't know what you were doing. At the same time, I'm looking because he even makes a claim that the GM Kime received longer leaves from the brass, even though he had violated a suspension related to DUI charges by negotiating a player's contract during his disciplinary period. So he basically was like looking at Kime, and Kime was supposed to be suspended, and because of the DUI, but he was still working behind the scenes, and the organization was like, yeah, go do your thing. Whereas I will say this much: African American coaches are not, and this is my opinion. Obviously, it's our show, and my opinion.
Yeah, that's right.
I do think African American coach minority. I'll say that minority coaches are on a much shorter leash than their counterparts in a lot of situations. Meaning, you look at some of the coaches that continue to have a job, and you're like, how the heck is he still doing that? Meanwhile, you got somebody like Flores down in Miami, 2 winning seasons with all the turmoil and everything going on. Yeah, we're gonna let you go because we don't like your personality. And it's like, wait a minute, but he's winning.
Right, without a franchise quarterback.
Without a franchise quarterback.
Right. Good guy, but
yeah. So yeah, when you say there's smoke, there's fire. It's like, oh goodness. And every situation can be looked at. There's always two sides to every story. I beg to differ. There's probably 4 sides.
Sometimes there's more than 2.
Because it's yours is mine. There's
right.
Whoever's watching it from the outside.
That's right.
Public, because it is. So there's, everybody makes up their opinions and everything. In this one, it'll be interesting to see how the NFL reacts to it.
Yeah, and your comment about minority coaches, that's heart wrenching, and
it's a shame in 2022 we're still dealing with it.
Right, and I think organizations, people struggle with that, and it's, I'm not going to use the R word because it's just to me, it's such a nasty word, and I'm an old white guy, so what am I to say? But I think that the ingrained establishments, there must be some bias, and you looked at the Brian Flores, that made no sense to anybody from the outside looking at it. Now, you don't know the dynamics on the inside either.
Oh, yeah.
So you really have to look at it. And I love Coach Brown, Dale Brown, my friend that coached the LSU Tigers, retired now, collegiate coaches Hall of Fame. He has this great line that says, "The truth is the truth. You can't negotiate with the truth." And so what people always want to get down to is, where's the truth? And in this, feelings, right? I feel this way, but feelings aren't always facts. I may feel that you're a great guy, but if you're doing some raunchy stuff behind the scenes, which of course you never would. That's a bad analogy. But my feelings aren't necessarily facts. But you can't tell me how I feel.
Yeah.
Damn, I'm gonna feel the way I want to, right? Like, I'm excited to be here right now. And so I think it's a mess, and I think that the legal system doesn't make it any better.
No, just as it gets cloudy because, like you said, it's when the legalese gets in there and they start twisting, and because both sides are going to try to make it to their favor.
Let's just say law is not justice.
Yeah.
Law is just law, and the rules for law are just ugly.
Yeah.
Can be.
I'll be real interested to see where this one goes in terms of, do others jump on the bandwagon? Do we hear more stories? We still have to get deciphered whether the Miami owner actually went to Flores and incentivized him by, if you lose games, I'll pay $100,000 per law. We got so when you get in these type of situations, the dirt.
Well, you start seeing the character of an organization.
Yeah.
And they're not all what they are presented in media.
Exactly. So we'll keep an eye on that one,
Yeah.
you know, and like I said, it's funny how it all ties back here to the Cardinals with Wilkes. And like I said, I'll be interested to see how it all plays out. But hey, appreciate you once again. I'm gonna say it every segment. Thank you, Brother Hans, for filling in. Brother Jay had to step out. Easy Sports Talk show, KDUS 1060 AM, KSLX HD channel 2, 100.7. You got us on Facebook, Restream, YouTube. You can catch us in so many places. Coming out here to some boroughs today, if you can. Find one of the 13 total locations. We are at 5115 North 7th Street, Phoenix here. Great spot. We're going to have Eva back on in a little bit. Hope you have a great start to your weekend so far. Folks, be back after these messages. I just feel so bad doing that because that's Jay's thing. There's your little ear or mouthpiece thing right on your right foot.
Sorry.
Oh, no, these come off all the time.
I
You didn't have to,
too much.
yeah. I just knew I just saw it down there.
That's a hot topic.
Yeah,
It was legit,
yeah.
and I bet you, because I know in my own company, and I have some, believe it or not, 8 years later, I got some issues in my own company. It is a good old boys club.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Money does.
Well, you only have 30 of those organizations. Like you said, all these owners sit around, and it is a good old boys club. They're going to let in who they want to let in. They're going to lead who they want to lead at all levels, too. If they're comfortable with whatever, that's going to be the status quo. And when you have that kind of money, Brother Hans, it's hard to tell somebody, like a Jerry Jones. Who the hell is going to tell Jerry Jones what not and to do?
I worked for a billionaire,
Did you really?
Tom Stewart.
I think you mentioned it last
I
time.
did helicopter crash.
Yeah. He
All
said,
his
yeah.
money. All his money.
Yeah.
And his son that now runs the company, Tom was about to put out pasture. Now his son
Oh,
says,
really?
I'm smarter than my dad ever was. He has no idea what his dad's plans were.
Yeah.
And so it's like the emperor has no clothes. They sold the business. The 3 kids each got about $600 million. They already had some coin.
That's monopoly money, man. He can't.
Yeah, and the business that they kept throws off about $100 million, $120 million a year in profit.
That's unbelievable. Crazy.
Real estate holdings. Just me, sorry.
Pretty fun. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. And it's Ava. After this segment, if you don't mind going to grab her to
The sheet, not this one.
11:30. Yeah. Ava, next segment, we'll come over and grab you. Okay.
Sub pop.
Hmm? This one is true narrative.
We said this time.
True narrative.
Got it.
And welcome back to the Easy Sports Talk Show.
I recognize that voice.
Jay loaded up with some good stuff today. I love that. I always tell him he needs to share that more. Like I said,
Yeah.
there'll be times when I'm rolling, man, and I'll have that bump up in my car. That's my fan right there.
That's right.
This segment right here is brought to you by
True Narrative Media. True Narrative Media understands in today's world the visual aspects of media is extremely effective in growing your business and expanding your brand awareness. True Narrative Media specializes in telling your unique story, providing a wide range of video services for companies and businesses of all sizes. For more information, call 623-335-0735 or visit the website at TrueNarrativeMedia.com.
Man, you were good with them readings, man. Hey, baseball has started officially. Let me ask you, it was such a quick spring training. It almost seemed like it was like a little less painful. Because spring training sometimes you get long and drawn out. It was here and gone. I'm pretty sure most around the valley would like for it to be a little longer because you get a chance to get to more games and everything. But
Being in the food and beverage business,
Yeah.
we want spring training
Okay,
in the valley.
that's
Because
good.
people, they consume a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I never even thought about that. I know out there in Peoria, on the west side, it was you could see the effect with the traffic and things going on, but it was here and gone before you even, because of the abbreviation. Normally it starts early February and goes all the way to the end of March. This one started right around the first or so. Actually, later than that, first week
it
of
was
March,
very short.
boom,
Yeah.
we're already at the regular season.
Hard for
So,
players, hard. Think about those, even the stadium there. A lot of infrastructure.
Yeah.
For not much going on.
Exactly.
Right.
So, Diamondbacks started 1-1 on the season. Tell everybody who was at the game
So
on the
my
opener.
son Colson, who's a freshman at ASU, was there with his roommate Hank. His father's in the spirits business, gave tickets, and he
Okay.
was texting me, sending me pictures, and he's like, "Dad, they won! They had a home run in the ninth inning."
Walk off in the ninth.
Of course, I'm like, "That's really great. Are you doing your homework?"
That was really cool though, because to be there. Look, and the thing about opening day at any ballpark around the country, that's unless you're the Yankees or Cubs, you feel it on a consistent basis. For the Diamondbacks, opening day is like their biggest kind of that's probably when they get
Some hope.
some hope.
Right.
And the stands, it looks so pretty when everybody's in the stadium.
Yep.
And I think that one holds about 45. I'm not sure. I'll have to check the attendance for, but ball games always look
Stadium.
so much more exciting and prettier when the stands are loaded. But
Yep.
then, like you fast forward to June or July, and like we had a season like last year, you're watching the game on Wednesday, you can actually hear the dude in the stands. Popcorn, get your popcorn.
Coldest foam in the dome.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where it was great to see. And as you mentioned, first game was a walk-off. And coincidentally, it was the dude named Beer on Beer Night.
That's right.
So what was his name? Because I'm still getting to know let me see. Steve, give me just a second here. Yeah, I thought I had it pulled up. Anyway, he hits the walk-off and they win the game. They lose last night, and I actually watched part of that one. Part of the reason why I watched it, Hans, because through 7 innings, there would be no hit again. You didn't hear me. I said again. Because in the first game, there were no hit through 6.
Right.
I'm going to throw some stuff out at you. I already told you earlier. So first game, no hit through 6. Ended up getting the walk-off in the ninth. So they scored all 4 of the runs in the ninth, right? No hit through 7 yesterday. Ended up getting shut out. So how many innings in a ball game? 9, right? So 2 games, 18 innings. They scored in 1.
Don't look at the facts.
I'm going to
Go
give
back
you
to
some.
game 1.
I'm going to give you some other numbers after you let that one sink in. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, it's a little scary.
A little scary.
Yeah, they're not ready.
Well,
Season.
they're not. Here's the thing, brother Hans. It's not that they're not ready. They're not armed. Meaning, when you look at their roster, right? Because I literally watched some of the game last night. I'm looking. I'm like, who the heck is that? I mean, you turn on the Dodgers game. You look at their lineup. You're like, oh my god, I know every one of those dudes. All-star.
Got a reputation.
Got a reputation. They got bombers. They got boppers. They got the top to the bottom of the lineup. You name it. Gold gloves.
Right.
And then you look at our lineup. It's like, ooh, I'm like, where did that dude come from? And who is he? And here it makes. I'm literally thinking, okay, this is 2 out of 160. I don't know how many. Last year we were 52 and 110. With this roster, and I'm gonna throw some other. I'm here. Okay, let me give you a number. I'm gonna end this right now.
Bring it.
We got 2022 Major League payrolls, and I just picked our division because I was, the Dodgers are number 1 overall in the in MLB at 277 million and some change.
Unbelievable.
At number 5, the Padres at 202, almost 202 and some change, 202 million. The Giants are number 13 at 142 million. The Rockies, bro, the Rockies are 137, closer to 138 million in payroll. That's where you get to the league average, which meaning out of all 30 teams combined, the league average is 137 million, right? The Diamondbacks are sitting at 23 in salary at 87, close to 88 million. So at 88 million, we're basically at the bottom of the barrel. We're sitting at 23 out of 30. And when, you got to spend money to make money, I know, but you also have to spend money to be competitive, if you ask me. This roster that they put together, worth $87 million, going up against the juggernaut of the Padres, Dodgers, Giants, who are all in the 142 to 277 million. It doesn't seem like a fair fight.
And which team in the major leagues has already picked to win it this year?
The Dodgers. Everybody's going to.
So is that a coincidence?
No. And I mean, the
Right.
Dodgers have become the Yankees of the 80s and 90s.
Right.
And and part of it is their revenue. Think about
Kill
it. TV revenue,
Yeah.
stadium filled every single night, people dying to get in there, concessions, everything like that. They got more money to spend than anybody.
I imagine their online merch, their shop merch, everything is just probably got to be towards the top.
So with that being said, you're looking at a team that I'm not going to call it Diamondbacks cheap, but they have not spent any money. And that leaves me, you can't, unless they have a miracle season. And I love Torrey. I played with Torrey. I know him well. I think he's a great manager. I think he's set up for failure again this year because what's going to happen, in my opinion, Brother Hans, they're going to get to about the halfway point. Remember last year, they were like 30 games out of first place.
Right. It was terrible.
And you got to blame somebody. We talked about it. He's on a 1-year deal.
Right.
Basically, this is dead man walking.
Right.
Somebody's going to need to be blamed for this horrible.
Of course.
But once again, we're talking about management.
So let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
You're good at asking questions. I'm asking you one.
Go ahead.
Do you think the ownership doesn't know those stats?
Oh, they do.
Right.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
what's the strategy? What are they? Where are they steering this thing? Because you got to step back and take a holistic look. People look at points in time and moments and events and specific things, which is important. But you take a big step back and look holistically at an organization. So what is their vision? Forget about all the marketing garbage. What is when they're in the boardroom, what are they trying to get accomplished? There's something going on here that you're right. Your friend's probably going to get the hook, and he knows the problem.
Oh, yeah.
Again, unless some miracle happens, and miracles do happen. I'm
They
a firm
do.
believer, and so are you. We've seen them. We've lived them.
Can I be honest with you what their vision is?
Yes.
The bottom line. They're trying to make as much money as they can. They're not worried about what's going on in the field. I think when you put this kind of effort into, you got to remember, think of the number of players that they dumped, have not tried to keep here
Right.
as the face of the organization. You Goldschmidt, there's no reason on God's green earth that
Be a
Goldschmidt
Cardinal,
should have ever left this organization. He should have been a Diamondback to the day he decided to leave here.
And he's still lighting up.
He's stuck. Upton, who had so much more to get. Greinke, you run down the list of guys that they brought in JD Martinez the 1 year that we had that little run, we got to the playoffs, and he's going to be a little too expensive. Everybody bid on him. You go, we'll figure this out. They've continuously taken this roster and made it because here's the thing about baseball, Brother Hans. Baseball is different than other sports. Football, you can turn it around in a year. You go get some plug and plays and stuff like that. Baseball, this roster, you can't build this. This is 5 or 6 years of more construction. Oh, we got a great minor league system. This is a long time coming.
Yeah, I'll tell you that my belief in business, and this is a business, is your success is an outcome of the work you're willing to do and your strategic moves. So your strategic move isn't we're going to be profitable. Your strategic move is we're going to be great, and that's going to drive the profits. And you look at companies that just want to make money, and you see them struggle because they don't have a soul. And you look at companies that says we're going to be awesome, and some of them don't make the best business decisions, but I guarantee you this: they are successful, and they have a more sustainable opportunity to drive that success through their product, not with the focus just being making money.
I think they don't want to spend money because it takes away from their top line. That's just my opinion.
It's a short-term mentality.
Yeah, Like I said, it's what the good thing about baseball. We got a long time, 160 more games, bro, to figure this out and see what they do, and maybe they'll
Yeah.
surprise us.
Maybe.
Hopefully, I just see when you're battling uphill like that
Grinding,
against. I mean, the talent, the level of talent with those other organizations compared to ours, that you just can't overcome that, if you ask me. So we're going to take this break. Hope you're having a great Saturday start to your weekend. Easy and Hans on the Easy Sports Talk Show. KDUS 1060 AM, KSLX HD Channel 2, 100.7 coming to you live from some boroughs in Phoenix. Be back after these messages, folks. Are you kidding? Thanks, Aaron.
You want Eve here?
Let's have Eva right here. Center stage.
All right,
I
my
love
dear.
your ink, by the way.
Thank you.
We're gonna have to talk about that. Yeah, I'm an ink man myself. I got I got them all over.
I love it.
Legs, chest, arms.
Really?
Oh,
I
yeah.
have my legs done and my feet.
Okay. Oh, your feet.
Yeah,
Was that painful?
it was. It
It
really, really
was.
was.
There's
I won't
certain
even
spots.
sugarcoat it.
There's certain
It was
spots.
really painful.
Yeah, there's certain spots. I've always, feet. People have them like on their face and neck and stuff like that. Oh,
Yeah, I know.
Maybe I'll look on.
oh goodness.
You know, you can get your eyeball tattooed.